Suns fans are running out of answers after another double-digit loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 2, and to be honest, it feels like the Suns are too. I'm Gerald Bourguet, and this is Solar Flares coming to you from the Target Center after the Suns' Game 2 loss to Minnesota. We heard from a lot of people after the game, but on the injury front, obviously Grayson left the third quarter after spraining his ankle for a second time. He sprained that same ankle in the third quarter of Game 1. Fell on it in Game 2. I asked him about it after the game, and he was saying that he rolled it pretty good, but it's a similar situation to Game 1 and Game 2 in terms of having 48 hours in between games to kind of get treatment on it. I asked about his outlook towards Game 3, and he said it's just too soon to tell right now, but he is going to see how it responds to that 48 hours of treatment, and hopefully he'll be able to go because the Suns looked pretty rough out there without him. I also asked Frank Vogel and Bradley Beal about Beal's heated exchange with Vogel in that fourth quarter timeout. It looked like he was yelling in Frank Vogel's direction, but they were both on the same page in terms of saying it was sort of a heat of the moment thing where Beal was talking through the game, expressing his frustration with the turnovers, with the foul calls, with the situation in general, but it wasn't directly aimed at Vogel. Now, in terms of heading back home to Game 3, it feels like the Suns have been dominated in this series, but hopefully a change of scenery will do them some good. This is what Devin Booker and Kevin Durant had to say in terms of their message to Suns fans.
Don't count us out. It's a series for a reason. I don't think any road teams won so far. I know that doesn't have anything to do with us, but it's just a situation that it is.
Kevin?
I can't give up on us right now. Shit, we ain't winning anything. We've been disappointed last couple games, even the season, been for our fans. But we need you more than ever now. Coming back home for Game 3.
Now, in terms of handling adversity, it feels like there's a disconnect in terms of what the Suns' biggest problem is. Devin Booker alluded to communication and how the Suns need to be better in that regard. He said when shit has gotten tough in this series, they've tended to go their separate ways instead of communicating and coming together in those instances. Vogel was saying that they handled adversity poorly tonight and that they've handled it poorly in Game 1 as well. It's something that this team desperately needs to find a way through. Bradley Beal said after the game that it's not going to be perfect and they're human at the end of the day, but they've got to do a better job at coming together in those moments, because in the third and fourth quarters of these games we've seen leads completely slip away. But Frank Vogel said that there's still a lot of belief and a lot of love in the locker room.
Keep challenging each other, but stay connected. And there's a lot of love in that locker room with that team. And we got to make sure that we can challenge each other, listen to one another, and remain connected. That's where we're at.
Now, in terms of specific problem areas, the points off turnovers are a big one. The Suns were outscored 31-2 in that regard. Devin Booker got a little combative when I asked him about those points off turnovers and how the discrepancy got so big. It's just something that the Suns haven't been able to figure out, and you can't commit that many turnovers or give up that many points off turnovers against the number one defense in the league. Another problem seems to be adjusting to the playoff physicality and the playoff whistle. Booker was saying that he wasn't frustrated with the whistle as much as he was frustrated inwardly with himself, with the team, with the way the game was going, but it did feel like there were a couple of calls that went against the Suns that seemed to get under his skin, and it's something they'll have to be much better about heading into Game 3. For more, keep it here on PHNX Sports.